Good morning. Welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I am Razzle11, and you can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 21st of July. We have an 11-game main slate on DraftKings, so we will focus on that. I know I haven't pointed out in a while, but we look at DraftKings because that is where I would say 99% of my play is done. So that is where I focus on most of the day. And as always, reminder that this is my first look at the pitching for the day. DFS Army members get my updated pool amongst my notes and everything later in the day after I've had a chance to dig in even more. But let's dig in and take a look at what we're working with today. As far as weather, I'm still waiting for our weather station to be updated on site. So we're going to have to wait on that information, but we can still look at matchups and everything. Starting at the top, we have Shohei Ohtani, a -205 favorite against a weak Pittsburgh offense. Shohei's hitting has been far superior to his pitching of late, but this is such a great spot. I'm not overthinking it. To be honest, he should be closer to 12K as a pitcher, especially in this spot. There's no way that like Strider yesterday should be 12.8K when Otani's at home against a team like Pittsburgh at 11K. But um, maybe that's because there's a few other pitching options up here at the top, and you want to make sure it's priced to be used and just not eliminated. But then we have Framber taking on the A's. We love picking on the A's. Framber has dominated the A's. Uh, one issue is his home runs on the road uh, are horrendous, but when you compare him to at home, uh, it's a big jump. Hasn't been as sharp recently, but did strike out 13 Angels last time out. Still gave up 5 runs, but his two double-digit K games have come against the Angels. Plenty of upside. Really solid. No problem going with him as an SP1 type. Be an interesting debate as I dig in more between he and Ohtani. Since they're very similarly priced, I would lean towards Ohtani, but uh, it's close enough. Framber's actually -267 favorite on the road, so it's a gigantic road favorite. Excuse me. Joe Ryan at home, where he's been far better. A -160 favorite in this game. Shut down the White Sox earlier this year. K numbers are through the roof. Walks are way down at home. Home runs allowed are way down. Hasn't been the sharpest of late, but he has still racked up strikeouts. Uh, Definitely viable. Just falls behind the two above him at this point, but that should keep his ownership down, meaning that we can probably get a 15 to 20% share and still be overweight. It would be interesting to see what our projected ownerships do show later today. Kodai Senga and Paxton taking each other on. Uh, Take a look here. Boston is a -120 favorite at home. Uh, Game total at 9.5. So Paxton coming off a rough start. He's been great in Fenway. I don't mind him. The Mets offense overall has been pretty weak. So I definitely think he's viable. I like him a little more than Senga. Uh, but I do think Senga has more upside. He's just far more volatile. He's looked really great the last couple. Strikeouts are there. Um, Dominated against a really tough Dodger squad. But, I think he's just a little more volatile with, walks can step in. There's some home runs. Bigger innings can happen. Uh, so I think upside wise, GPP, large field especially, Senga would be my play over Paxton. But They're close enough. Using the top five pitchers for sure. I usually like to fade one or two in the top range, but I don't really see that tonight yet. We'll see as the day goes on. We kind of dig into some more splits and kind of go from there. But Bryce Miller taking on the Blue Jays, been phenomenal at home. Uh, had a had a little hiccup against the Orioles. Has bounced back the last couple. Just not a huge K guy. I realize he struck out 10 in his debut against Oakland. Uh, I don't think I'm going to go with Bryce Miller against the Blue Jays tonight. He is a minus 125 favorite, however, but I just don't. I just don't know if he has enough upside to match the other 9K and above guys. Um, and we might be able to get something similar from somebody lower, but uh, there actually isn't a ton of pitching down below, so uh, we'll kind of see how it goes. Freddie Peralta against the Braves, no, not interested. He is far better when at home. Strikeouts are far stronger, coming off a great start against Cincinnati. But prior to that, still giving up runs. Does have K upside, but I'm just not sure I ever want to use a pitcher against Atlanta. I know we have tentatively, but Atlanta is a minus 125 favorite in that game. Ranger Suarez on the road where he's been far better. It's a guy that I really like. The last few outings have not been good. Walks are up, Ks are down, some home run issues. I am not sure what to do with him in this spot. He is a favorite, minus 125 favorite against Cleveland. We know that Cleveland lacks a lot of power upside in their lineup. So there is a route to a pretty solid performance from Ranger Suarez. Uh, the issue is I don't think there's a ton of K upside in this matchup. So uh, I think right now he's kind of on the border. Um, Based on where we're at right now, I would include him, but I think there's a chance we end up moving him out of uh, the pool later in the day. Kikuchi taking on Bryce Miller and Seattle, going back to Seattle. Maybe some revenge narrative going on. Ton of K upside in this matchup. Seattle strikes out plenty. Um, I think right now I am considering Kikuchi more than Suarez, but that's based on I think Kikuchi just has more upside in this particular matchup. I do think it is a more dangerous matchup for him, so that floor is a bit lower. Uh, but when I build my pools, I'm just looking for pure upside in spots, um, and upside that I think that the pitcher has a chance to get to. Um, at a I don't know, at a minimum, maybe like 15% of the time he has a chance to approach a ceiling type performance. Um, Kind of give an idea of what I look for. Uh, Lance Lynn against Minnesota, ton of K upside, struck out 10 against them the first time. His overall numbers on the season are just so gross, but his strikeouts are there for whatever reason. Uh, Giving up plenty of home runs. He actually dominated Toronto, which is crazy, but uh, you know, he's super volatile. I really don't know what to do with Lynn. I think I have to put him ahead of Kikuchi and Suarez just because of that K upside is through the roof. Um, and if you get some positive, fly ball variance to where instead of three home runs, maybe it's just a home run and two flyouts to the track or something, uh, his score could be pretty solid. I just hate the idea of rostering Lance Lynn with how hard he's been hit, but I think he's definitely viable. Like I said, Minnesota is a minus 160 favorite in that game. No interest in Tony Gonsolin taking on the Rangers. The Rangers are a minus 120 favorite. A little interest in Gavin Williams taking on the Phillies. Uh, he is a small home underdog, but uh, I am interested in him. Maybe not enough. Philadelphia has plenty of strikeouts. Corbin Burns just struck out double digits. Gavin Williams is not Corbin Burns. I realize that. But there's upside. His home numbers have been pretty bad, though. It's a little worrisome, especially against the left-handed hitters of Philly. I would guess that Gavin Williams probably ends up on the outside looking in, but he is in consideration, for my eighth spot in my pitcher pool. Michael Soroka. God, I want to see him just turn everything around after all of his injuries and put up dominant performances. Just not sure that he's able to right now. Hasn't been as great on the road. Super high whip numbers, which is very worrisome. Huge walk rate on the road. I want to believe that it's a great spot for him, but my guess is it's not going to be something that I go with. Uh, Based on all of his injury history, he just might be one that we need to see happen a few times before we decide to jump back on. JP Sears against Houston was solid against them the first time he faced them. He's a solid pitcher, but I just don't know if I want to get there. You mentioned Houston is a minus 267 favorite. Uh, if you want to use JP Sears, I'm not going to talk you out of it. I just don't think he's going to make it into my pool. The only other guy down here I'm really considering is Clark Schmidt at home against the Royals. Overall numbers have been better at home. His fantasy points per game at home are lower, but that's purely based on wins. He's just not picking up wins at home, which we know that wins are volatile. Does give up more home runs at home. Definitely worrisome, but the underlying numbers are better at home. So Clark Schmidt hasn't been terrible. Coming off a pretty strong game, 20 plus DK points in two out of his last three. Kind of the best stretch of the season, pretty close for him. I'm guessing he is a decent home favorite. Yeah, minus 220 at home. Not really expecting a W just because of the way the Yankees have been playing. But I think Clark Schmidt is certainly viable down here at the bottom. To have 25 fantasy point upside, 26, 27, something in that range is very strong. He did it against the tough Toronto squad. He's done it against Seattle, and then obviously in Coors, which is something to point out as well. Pretty strong against Baltimore, so he's capable of doing it. 2 starts ago, he's 8,600. He's down to 6,200. So for me, he's definitely going to end up in my pool. I'm pretty confident in saying that he will make it. But we will get the updated one later to the members of DFS Army. That'll do it for today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. And if you want to join us, I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, R-A-Z, for 10% off your monthly membership. Or I believe you can still use Summer50 for 50% off your first month with us. And as always, best of luck, everybody.